taking her to a place she'd never been, to a life she dared only dream about. Cinderella.
Maybe it's time to start following your heart. Someday I'll get this princess thing right.
I think that day is today.
Cinderella 2. Dreams Come True.
We see Cinderella and the prince. They got married and came back from their trip. Cinderella is happy, but also a little scared. Her new life in the big castle is new, and she doesn't know how to be a queen. The prince says, "Don't worry, you'll learn." At the castle, we see the castle, and Cinderella's mouse friends, Jack and Gus, are there. The boss guys tell the king that Cinderella and the prince are back. They say Cinderella doesn't know how to run a castle, and it will be hard. They say she needs to learn everything to be a queen. The boss guy chooses Prudence to teach her all about the castle. He also says Cinderella has to plan a big party, which surprises everyone. Cinderella and the prince get to the castle, and the king says hi. But then he tells the prince they have to leave. He wants Cinderella to plan the party by herself in 2 days. The prince says, how can she do that? She's never been a queen. But the king says, we have to go. Prudence will help. Cinderella can do it. I'll be patient if she messes up. The prince says bye to Cinderella and says she'll do great. Then he leaves with the king, Cinderella at the castle. Cinderella is scared, but she's happy to see her mouse friends, Jack and Gus, and her dog Bruno. They say hi. Jack sees she's worried and says, don't worry. Cinderella says, we have a lot to do for the party tomorrow. And Jack says, we're ready. The next day, Prudence comes to wake Cinderella up, but Bruno is in bed, not Cinderella. Cinderella is in the kitchen making breakfast. Prudence finds her and gets mad. She says, what are those bad clothes? Queens don't cook. She introduces Cinderella to her helpers, Beatrice and Clotilde, and tells Cinderella to leave the kitchen. She says the king wants her to teach Cinderella how to be a queen. Cinderella is surprised, but she tries to learn. Prudence takes her to her room, and the helpers dress her in a fancy queen dress. Cinderella doesn't like it. She wants to wear her comfy dress. Prudence says no. Queens wear fancy clothes. Cinderella agrees, but she's not happy. When she leaves the room, she sees the curtains are closed, and it's dark. She wants to open them, but Prudence says no. That's not what queens do. Prudence shows Cinderella around the castle. They get to the dinner table, and Prudence shows her where everyone sits, especially the king. She shows Cinderella the food for the party. She says they'll have lamb and potatoes, but Cinderella is happy about the plum dessert because it's the king's favorite. While Prudence is teaching, Cinderella sees her friends outside. She runs to them and tells the guards to open the gate, but Prudence says, only important people can come in. Cinderella's friends leave, and she's sad. She feels like everyone is leaving her. Party planning. They teach Cinderella how to dance like a queen. Then they ask her about the party. White or cream tablecloth? Gold or silver? Fish or meat? Cinderella gets confused and falls down. She's sad and runs away. Her mouse friends follow her. She says she's bad at being a queen and doesn't know what to do. She looks in the mirror and says she looks different. She thinks the rules are the problem. She decides to be herself. She puts on her old clothes and lets her hair down. She says, I'll do great if I'm myself. She tells the guards to open the gates and goes to the market. She gives out party invitations to her friends. Prudence finds her and says, are you sure? The king won't like this. It's only for fancy people. Cinderella says, I'm inviting fancy people too. She invites more friends and goes back to the castle. The next day, she changes everything. She opens the curtains, changes the food, and makes chocolate cake instead of plums. She teaches the workers a new dance. Prudence says, I hope you know what you're doing. The king won't like this. The party. At night, Cinderella wears her favorite dress and goes to the party. Her friends and the king's friends are there. Everyone is dancing and having fun. The king comes, and Cinderella is scared. The king is shocked. A worker drops chocolate cake on him. The king gets mad, especially about the open curtains. But he sees the moon and says it's pretty. He gets mad again about the regular people, but a worker says Cinderella did it. Cinderella talks to him. Chocolate sauce gets on his face. He tastes it and likes it. He likes all the changes. He tells everyone to dance. The prince comes and is surprised. Everyone dances. The king makes Prudence dance with the boss guy. Prudence thanks Cinderella and says she'll always help her. The king puts a queen crown on Cinderella and says the prince chose her. Beatrice's story. Beatrice and Daphne are fighting over a hair ribbon. Their mom stops them and says Cinderella's party is tomorrow. She says it's a good chance to find husbands. She says looks and clothes are important. They go to the market. A seller shows Beatrice a flower crown. Their mom stops her. Cinderella is at the market in disguise. She tells her mouse and bird friends she's getting flowers for a crown for the prince. Beatrice loves the smell of bread. She goes to the bakery and meets the baker. They like each other. Cinderella and her friends see them. Beatrice says the bread smells good. The baker offers her bread, but her mom stops her. She says the shop is boring and tells Beatrice not to talk to the baker again. Cinderella helps Beatrice see the baker. They steal Beatrice's hat, and she chases them. Cinderella tells the mice to distract the baker. The baker sees them and chases them. He meets Beatrice, but a horse scares her, and she falls in dough. She's sad and runs away. Everyone laughs. Cinderella comforts her and says she saw what happened. Beatrice is surprised to see Cinderella and her clothes. Cinderella says it wasn't her fault. Beatrice says he won't like me. I'm clumsy and ugly. Cinderella gives her clothes to Beatrice, and she goes to the castle. A cat, Pom-Pom, chases Jack and Gus. He sees Cinderella's cat, Pom-Pom, and likes her. Pom-Pom doesn't care. Jack makes a deal with Pom-Pom to help him get the cat to like him. They clean him up. Cinderella helps Beatrice look nice for the baker. She says personality is important. She gives Beatrice a dress and tells her to be herself and smile. Cinderella helps her smile. They go to the market. Beatrice imagines marrying the baker. Her mom comes in, and she pretends to sit. It's almost noon, and she goes to buy bread. She buys a flower crown for the baker and finds Cinderella. The baker buys a flower crown for Beatrice. His sister asks if Beatrice will like it. Beatrice sees him with his sister and thinks she's his girlfriend. She's sad and runs away. The baker chases her, but he can't catch her. Cinderella asks what happened, but Beatrice can't talk. She cries by the fountain. Pom-Pom gets ready to see the cat. He gives her flowers, and she likes him. But then she sees the mice and tells him to chase them. He does, and they fight. Jack throws water on Pom-Pom. The cat gets mad and throws the flowers at him. The mice hit him with a broomstick. The baker looks for Beatrice. He's tired and sits by the fountain. A goat eats his flower crown. He only gets one flower. He hears crying and finds Beatrice. He gives her the flower, and she says she likes him. Her mom comes and yells at her. She throws the flower on the ground. Beatrice says she's going to the party with the baker. Her mom gives up and leaves. Cinderella is happy for her. At the party, Beatrice and the baker dance. She thanks Cinderella. Everyone dances. The party ends. Jack's story. The next day, Jack and Gus get a flower for Cinderella. They haven't done anything for her in a while. Pom-Pom sees them and tries to eat them. They escape. They give Cinderella the flower, but the boss guy gives her a list for another party. She says sorry to her friends and goes to a meeting. Jack finds out she forgot the list and takes it to her. A lady drops her napkin and sees Jack. She screams and runs away. Jack is sad. Cinderella tells him she needs his help and asks him to meet her at the stables. He's happy and waits for her. He's worried she won't see him, so he climbs on a cart. Cinderella comes and calls for him, but the horses are loud and she can't hear him. She rides away. Jack jumps on the horse and holds onto its tail. The horse throws him off. Jack is mad because he can't help. He says, I don't want to be a mouse anymore. I don't want to be small. Pom-Pom comes to eat him, but the fairy godmother appears. Jack says only big people help Cinderella. I want to be a person. She turns him into a person. Pom-Pom sees him and thinks he's a big mouse. He walks in the garden, happy to be a person. Pom-Pom follows him and tries to eat him. He gets to Cinderella, who's busy with the party. He tells her he's a person, but paint falls on him. Cinderella helps him. He says he came to help, but she thinks he's a worker. They call him Enzo. She asks him to help with the party. He rides a horse for the first time, but it hits a tree, and flowers fall on him. He gives them to Cinderella. At the castle, she tells him to put the flowers in a vase. Pom-Pom shows up, and Cinderella tells Jack to stay with her. Pom-Pom chases the mice, and when she sees Jack, she likes him. Cinderella says they'll open the dance at the party. Jack hears his friends and goes to see them, but they're scared of him. The boss guy says the party is starting and takes Jack with him. At the party, Cinderella and the prince cut a ribbon. The king likes the elephant and rides it. Pom-Pom takes Jack to open the dance, but the cat Pom-Pom chases him. He runs away and gets on a swing. The guests run away. Jack is sad. He wishes the fairy godmother was there. She appears and says he can help Cinderella. He asks what to do, and she says only a mouse can stop the elephant. He asks her to turn him back into a mouse. He stands in front of the elephant. The fairy godmother forgets the magic words. The elephant is about to step on Jack. She remembers the words and turns him back into a mouse. The elephant stops. The king flies off the elephant and is happy. Jack is happy he helped. His friends congratulate him. Cinderella says he saved the day. The next day, the mice write Cinderella's story in a book. The fairy godmother helps them. They finish, and she asks if they're ready to show Cinderella. They give her the book, and she reads it. The mice are around her. That's the end of Cinderella's story. Don't forget to like and subscribe.